So then guys, the iPhone 17 Pro Max has landed, but how much of a leap is it from the iPhone 14 Pro Max that came out 3 years ago? Well, I've been using both back to back, pushing them through camera tests, performance stuff, everyday usage, and I'm going to show you what the main differences are between both of these phones and whether you should consider upgrading to an iPhone 17 Pro Max. So with that, let's start with the design then. There's a familiar premium feeling with both of these phones, but some big changes. The iPhone 14 Pro Max uses a stainless steel frame and a matte glass back, where the iPhone 17 Pro Max moves to a forged aluminum unibody aerospace grade, which feels lighter and yet still feels really solid. Bezels are also noticeably thinner on the screen here, where you can see a massive difference between both of these phones. And then also we have that camera plateau now, what is the full width of the back of this phone. And in fact, you can see a bit of a wobble test here. If I try wobbling the iPhone 14 Pro Max, you can see it wobbles quite a bit here. The iPhone 17 Pro Max, it wobbles, but not as much as the iPhone 14 Pro Max on a table. But then on the front of the phone, the actual display, the 14 Pro Max has a 6.7-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display. Already stunning, with ProMotion, always on, and the peak outdoor brightness was 2000 nits on this. But the iPhone 17 Pro Max has now got a screen size of 6.9 inches. This was first introduced last year and has even slimmer bezels like I talked about. And yeah, this makes a big difference, and especially that you can also push this up to 3000 nits of brightness this time. So when you're outdoors, this is really going to help out. Apple have also added their new anti-reflective coating, and to be honest, I've not really noticed that much difference here, even in artificial lights. But what they have also introduced is Ceramic Shield 2 on both the front and the back, and Apple is saying this is more durable this time. So then guys, if you've just picked up a new iPhone 17 Pro Max and you don't want to scratch it, and it needs a case, not just for protection, but for personality too, then CaseQ's new Magic Stand 360 series might be the one for you. These cases are built different. This one here is the titanium Magic Stand 360 degree in cosmic orange. It's bold, military grade, strong, and that color, yeah, it absolutely pops. But more than just that, it's packed with features. For example, the 360 degree stand is magnetic, fully adjustable, and rock solid. You can angle it from 40 degrees all the way around to portrait or landscape, and it just stays in place. And if you're not into bright colors, well, they've got the matte Magic Stand 360 degree cases in deep blue and in black. Same stand, same military grade protection, but with that low-key, ultra sleek vibe. And both type of cases are fully MagSafe compatible, charging fast, and the magnetic ring is fully built right in. There's no bulky add-ons, no parts sticking out, and unlike other cases that yellow or fall apart, these are just built to last. There's no fading, no wobble, and definitely no snap-off stands. Oh, and if you want to customize your cases, well, you can do that too. CaseQ's got this awesome DIY Magic Stand project. You can add magnetic pins or stickers and create something totally your own. So whether you go bold with cosmic orange or chill with, say, the deep blue or the black case, CaseQ's Magic Stand 360 degree cases are something of the best out there for your iPhone 17 Pro Max. And if you want to get one of these cases yourself, well, check them out in the description below of this video. But what about performance then? Well, the iPhone 14 Pro Max came with the A16 Bionic chip, which is still quite capable in 2025, but you are missing features now. For example, you've got less RAM, you've also don't get Apple Intelligence, whereas the iPhone 17 Pro Max, that gives us the A19 Pro and more RAM, what's giving us 12 gigs instead of 6 gigs, what we got in the iPhone 14 Pro Max. We even get additional GPU core as well inside of it, 6 of them, where we only had 5 GPU cores in the 14 Pro Max. So this means that apps launch faster, you get quicker kind of exports if you do videos, multitasking, and also longer support into the future here, especially with Apple Intelligence, more features rolling out in that area. The iPhone 14 Pro Max is going to completely miss out on that. But if you don't care about anything to do with AI and you're just scrolling, messaging, watching content and all of this, the iPhone 14 Pro Max still holds up quite fine here. But after this then, what about cameras then? So the iPhone 14 Pro Max has a 48 megapixel main camera, and this was the first time that this was introduced into an iPhone. It's also got a 12 megapixel ultra wide and a 12 megapixel 3x telephoto. But the iPhone 17 Pro Max, well, that's a very different story. We now have an even more redefined 48 megapixel main camera. We also have a 48 megapixel ultra wide, and for the first time, a 48 megapixel telephoto, which can go up to 8x zoom capability of giving us optical images at that zoom rate. What's incredible. And in fact, I did some camera testing with both of these phones. I took them out into the hills and I did a bit of a zoom kind of test where I actually pinched in over some hills to an artificial windmill in the distance. And let's have a look at the differences here. First of all, starting out then with the likes of the iPhone 14 Pro Max. So you can see here we have a 0.5 zoom, a 1x zoom, the 2x zoom capability. Then after that, we have 3x the telephoto, but we can go all the way up to the likes of a 10x zoom, but the actual maximum we can go on here is only 15x zoom capability on this phone. But now, if we go over to the iPhone 17 Pro Max in the exact same place, let's have a look what we've got here. We have got 0.5 zoom here, the ultra wide. Then we've got the 1x zoom capability. Then after this, the 2x. Then we've got the 4x zoom. Then an 8x, show you the same 10x zoom, but this is the cool thing, you can go even further. You can go up to say 25x digital zoom, similar to like even the 16 Pro Max, but you can even push this up to a 40x zoom capability. So I'm gonna say this straight away, the iPhone 17 Pro Max, especially in telephoto and also the ultra wide, there is a big difference in this phone compared to the likes of the iPhone 14 Pro Max. 1x zoom and 2x zoom, not that much difference there, but definitely I'm going to say that any other kind of zooming or ultra wide, you are going to notice a big difference with the iPhone 17 Pro Max. But not only this, videos have even got a big difference here. So same location, I took a video zooming up with the iPhone 14 Pro Max. Check this out here. So this is the 14 Pro Max at 0.5, but we can go up to a 1x zoom. Then we can also go up to a 2x zoom capability here. You can see it's struggling a bit there, but obviously we flick up to a 3x zoom. Obviously we can't really see much more there. The reason is because we actually have to change the actual cameras here on this phone. What's a little bit annoying, this is one of the downsides, but I just want to show you then what it looks like then on the 3x zoom. So I'm just going to switch to that. So now this is on the 3x telephoto, so you can see it's far more clearer than using the other camera main lens. But what we can start to do now, we can actually start to zoom up to here. So this is far better at the maximum is a 9x zoom capability on the iPhone 14 Pro Max. That's how far you can go with video recording. You cannot go any further than that. So yeah, that is impressive, but it feels a bit limited in what I'm going to show you with the iPhone 17 Pro Max. I'm going to do another zoom test, and also straight after that, I'm going to show you the dual camera mode, what you can also do with zooming in. So check this out with the iPhone 17 Pro Max. So I'm on the iPhone 17 Pro Max here. This is a 0.5x zoom, but if I punch it up to a 1x zoom, you can see the zoom. Can you see the windmill in the background there? It's quite far away, but we're going to punch it right up to a 2x zoom. That's where we're at there. Then a 4x zoom. You can see it even more clearer. And then we can push it all the way up to the 8x zoom there. This is the optical range that Apple are saying here. But there is the digital zoom, and we can actually go all the way up to a 24x digital zoom with video. You know, I'm trying to keep it stable here, but yeah, that does quite a good job there. And also, just to show you guys, this is the dual camera mode option. I think this is pretty cool. So you can actually see me. This is what I'm seeing here, the zoom. Let's see, there's my hand. See? Look at that, that's pretty cool. And just want to show you here, look, so this is 0.5. I can go up to the 1x, the 2x. Oh, I went up to 4 there, but there we go, that's 4x instead then. But then obviously you've got the 8x zoom there. And then obviously I can still do that pinch ups kind of zoom up to the 24 times zoom, just to show you guys there. That is what you can actually do with this phone, what is pretty neat. But there's also the front-facing cameras on these phones. So the iPhone 14 Pro Max was the first to bring out the new 12 megapixel camera, and that front-facing camera still does a great job today. Have a look at a picture right here. You can see here a selfie of me, does quite a good job. Whereas though the iPhone 17 Pro Max, we have that new 18 megapixel selfie camera, and you can do both now, a kind of portrait and landscape mode without actually twisting your phone around. You just press a button on the screen and the pictures look far, far better here. So yeah, definitely for cameras wise, the iPhone 17 Pro Max easily beats out the likes of the iPhone 14 Pro Max. But then, next of all then, let's talk about thermals and heat. So the iPhone 14 Pro Max can get quite toasty under load. So, you know, if you're doing multitasking, video, photo edits, even playing games, it will get warm. Whereas the iPhone 17 Pro Max now has that new vapor chamber inside of it, cooling system, and this definitely helps out, even when you push it out even further here. So if you do long shoots, exports, heavy apps, this makes a big difference here, and obviously you're going to get far longer performance with this inside of it. But then after this, let's talk about battery life. And this is probably the one area the 17 Pro Max really shines out. The battery life inside of this phone is far more superior than this phone here, even though it's only slightly larger. The 14 Pro Max did have a decent battery, but you found yourself in the evenings putting it on charge. Whereas the iPhone 17 Pro Max is even better. I can get around about 8 to 9 hours use here with this phone daily, whereas on this one, I could probably only get around about 6 hours of sort of full on-screen usage if I'm actually pushing out the phone to do multiple things, not just watching videos, for example. And charging is faster too. You can actually use, say, Apple's dynamic power adapter. I've got Google's one here, it does the same thing, same protocols, and you can get to 50% in under 20 minutes. And even MagSafe is quicker and cooler now. We've got 15 watts, whereas we've got 25 watts. It's not night and day faster, but it definitely is an improvement. But then after this, what about storage? Well, funny enough, the iPhone 14 Pro Max was the last iPhone to actually give us 128 gigabytes of storage as the baseline, whereas the baseline this one's 256, and the maximum this capped out the 14 Pro Max, it could only go up to 1 terabyte. We can go up to 2 terabytes now with a Pro Max model. So yeah, this is a big difference there. The other big difference I'm going to say is also on the bottom of this phone. The iPhone 14 Pro Max was the last iPhone to have a Lightning port at it, and this could only transfer speeds at USB 2.0 speeds. We now have USB-C at the bottom of the iPhone 17 Pro Max, so transferring data is far quicker at 10 gigabits now. A massive, massive difference between both these phones if you're going to use that port. But then for software-wise, there's also another big difference. We're on iOS 26 on both these. We've both got that liquid glass and it feels great, but the iPhone 17 Pro Max just feels smoother. And that's thanks to that newer hardware inside of it. But the other thing as well is we get far more features in iOS 26. We get everything what's Apple Intelligence, whereas the iPhone 14 Pro Max was the last Pro Max phone that wouldn't get any of Apple Intelligence features added into it. You get none of them. So anything that you've seen advertised for iOS 26 what involves Apple Intelligence, you do not get any of them. And that also includes, you know, iOS 18, the last edition as well. You don't get any of that either. You only get it if you get yourself a newer iPhone, and the iPhone 17 Pro Max does give you that. But then after this then, what could we say hasn't really improved? Well, I'd say both these phones are quite big, but the iPhone 17 Pro Max is bigger in your hand. I'm going to say it's a two-handed device. And also the other thing too is that the likes of this phone is scratching a little bit more, the iPhone 17 Pro Max, compared to stainless steel. It just feels a bit more tougher in that area. But apart from that then really, there isn't much more of a difference where the iPhone 14 Pro Max is a better phone than the likes of the 17 Pro Max. So here's the final verdict then. Should you upgrade from an iPhone 14 Pro Max to the iPhone 17 Pro Max because it gives you brighter screen, better cameras, more power, better battery life, a bit more polish across the board, and also the likes of, say, all those Apple Intelligence features? Yes, it is a fantastic phone. And I would say it is worth the upgrade. If you are looking for a new phone and you actually want that feeling of a new feeling of a phone, giving you that kind of upgrade feeling, do it. Definitely upgrade. However, what I would say, if you've still got an iPhone 14 Pro Max and it's still great and it does more of everything that you just want it to do, then keep it. That's the other thing here. I wouldn't be saying to get rid of it if you are happy with it, because it's still a great phone. If you don't want Apple Intelligence and you are happy with the photo quality, the battery life it's giving you, don't bother. I would say keep it, because obviously you are going to get a couple more years of Apple upgrades in iOS going into the future. But just do remember, those new features that you're going to get are going to get even more limited as you go along. So I would even say probably next year or the year after that even is when it's going to be mandatory to start thinking of definitely upgrading. Do remember, you also get all the upgrades from the iPhone 16 Pro Max and the iPhone 15 Pro Max in the iPhone 17 Pro Max over what you got with this phone. And that does make a difference there. But on that note then guys, what do you think? Do you think it's worth upgrading to an iPhone 17 Pro Max over an iPhone 14 Pro Max? Well, let me know in the comments below. And on that note as well guys, it's time to wrap up this video too. So if you have enjoyed watching it, please do press the like button. As always, you want to hear the latest Apple news, reviews and comparisons, make sure you subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell. Until next time guys, I'll see you really soon. Take care. Bye bye.